have really. What? 1 minute, thank you. 1 minute to go. Countdown. Oh, dearly. Oh. Aye. No way. Oh. Jelly. Hello, Diana.
Hi, everybody. I don't know what happened because usually the guests and my mic and the guest mic get muted automatically during
Yes,
that. And yours was not. And I don't know why.
I know.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Halloween and July edition with our special guest who's going to tell us really spooky stories, and then we're going to both create spooky art. So, hi, Davy. And Davy's channel is linked down below. His channel is called Art with a Pen. Art with a Pen, because that's his main specialty. His main specialty is he loves drawing with the pen usually, but he does do other things. But, and so his channel is linked down below. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I have his channel linked down below in the description box. Art with a Pen. And so are you going to start us off with Are you going to start us off with spooky stories?
I will, yes, if you would like us to tell a spooky story or two for Halloween.
Yes, what do you think, guys? Everybody in the chat.
Put us all in the mood.
Yes, let's say I'm gonna before you do that, let me just say hello to everybody. That's Lexi. Hi, Lexi. Hi, Grayscale Painting. Hi, Madonna. Hi. And hi, Cool Gamer. Hello, Cool Gamer. Hello. And then that was Art with a Pen was in there. And Madonna, Lexi. And then to who's ever watching and didn't say hello in the chat, don't be afraid, even though it's Halloween. Don't be afraid to say hello in the chat. Yeah, let's start getting in the mood with spooky stories that he's going to tell us.
Spooky stories. First of all, hello everybody in the chat and everybody who's watching. I'm looking through the chat there now. So spooky stories to get everybody in the mood for Halloween. Now I've got a couple of spooky stories. The first one, I must say, is a quick story, and it is a story from one of my neighbours called Bill, who was a fireman. He's an ex-fireman, okay? Now, I don't know what you call that in the USA. A fireman? Yeah.
You mean a firefighter?
Firefighter.
We call him a firefighter or a fireman.
So Bill was a firefighter, okay? Now, many years ago, when he was a firefighter, him and his crew were called out, okay, to an emergency quite late at night in the evening. Now, it was in Newcastle, okay, so the north of England. Okay, there's a lot of ghost stories up here in the north of England. So Bill and his friends, his firefighter crew, headed over at high speed to Newcastle, to a very old building. And when they arrived, there was no sign of a fire, but there was a little bit of activity. And when they searched the side of the building in question, where they had been called out to inspect, they noticed the window opening high up on the building, okay? And out popped a head of a little girl with blonde hair, and she peeked out of the window very gently and looked down upon the firefighters. Okay, so Bill and his firefighter friends, immediately shouted up to the little girl, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" And she shook her head from side to side. And they shouted up, "Get inside the building, get inside the room, we're coming up. We're going to get you out of there." So the head of the little girl disappeared into the room. They placed their ladders from the fire engine up to the window, and they started to climb up the ladders. They got to the window, which was open, and the room was lit up. Okay, there was a light on, it was illuminated. They climbed in quickly and immediately searched and looked for the little girl. who was nowhere in sight. Okay. The little girl had vanished. They thought she was hiding. She might be a little bit scared. So they looked around the room. It was a classroom. Okay. All the tables were set out nice and neatly. They checked the cupboards. They checked underneath all of the tables. And there was no one in sight. The door opened. The external door unlocked. And a man ran in. It was the janitor. And the janitor told the firefighters that this door was locked permanently. Ooh. It was used as a night class, but once all the students left, it was searched. The janitor searched it, and the door was locked, and only he had the key to that room. Ooh. And that is the mystery of where did the little girl go to with the blonde hair? The firefighters returned to the fire fighting machine, the vehicle, firefighting vehicle, fire engine, and they discussed what they'd seen, and everybody had seen the head of the little girl. So what were they going to say to their boss when they got back? They decided to just, because they had to write a log, and what they wrote was, it was a false alarm with good intention. And that's what the log says to this day. So that was the mystery of the little girl. Okay, so believe it or not, Bill is a very trustworthy person. He's one of my neighbours. He's a friend. So I trust him quite a lot. I trust this guy. So what do you think about that story?
Was that based on a true story?
That is a true story. I was told of Bill, my neighbour and friend.
Oh.
He used to be who is an ex-firefighter.
But I have a question. So they just weren't they worried about the little girl, and weren't they gonna just try to get in that room?
Yes, they did. That's what I said. They told the girl. She didn't say a word. Bill said she didn't utter one word. She just shook her head, and she disappeared into the room. So they went up after her.
Right.
Went into the room, and she wasn't there. There was no sign of her. So there we go. True.
Yeah.
Or, believe it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, she was
that is for you to decide.
Yeah, she was some kind of ghost.
Yeah, probably by the sounds of it. Some kind of ghost, an apparition. Yeah, if you believe in apparitions, of course. So there we go. There was a story to put everybody in the mood.
And who had called that there was a fire? Just somebody at that residence?
I don't know. He didn't mention it. He didn't mention who called the fire brigade out. I think maybe an alarm had went off. So they assumed it was going to be a fire when they arrived there. But when they arrived, there wasn't any sign of a fire. But an alarm, yeah.
The interesting thing would be find out the history of families that had lived in that house and see whatever things that have ever happened.
Yes, it was a very old house, apparently. We have quite a few very old buildings in Newcastle. And this was one of them. And it was renovated some time ago into a teaching facility, a teaching room, yeah, where students would go and learn night classes, as we say in the UK. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, because often I would like to check the history of all the different families that have lived there, because then it was that little girl was probably connected with something that families that had lived there in the past.
Yeah, maybe. I think you could be right there. It's a very strange story, and they all said that the little girl looked extremely real. There was nothing unusual about her. It was a real girl popping her head out of the window. That's what's strange about it. Yeah. So very creepy. The firefighters were certainly creeped out by it. Yes. So there we go. A spooky story for Halloween.
A good one. People are saying in the chat, good one.
Thank you. I hope everybody enjoyed that little story.
Yes.
The little girl in the room, the mysterious girl.
And later on, or whenever you want, you have more for us?
I have another one, yes. I have another spooky story.
Well, no, maybe if you only have one more, then maybe only tell us that later.
Yes, I'll tell you that later. I've got lots of stories. I collect ghost stories.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you have lots of stories. Okay.
Yeah, I've been told a lot of ghost stories. There's a lot going on.
And a lot of you've been told a lot of ones that are based on the truth, right?
They're all apparently true stories. But you've got to believe it or not. Is it true or false? You've got to believe it or not. A lot of these people who I've been told these stories from are very trustworthy people who I trust. So I tend to believe them. That they've certainly seen something. I believe that. But what have they seen? That's the big question. Yeah.
Right.
What have they seen? What do you think, Diana?
I think that little girl, whenever something like violent or bad, like a bad situation, like some tragedy. That's what I mean, tragedy. Whenever there's some kind of tragedy happens in a house or a building, something like that, that's when those kind of ghosts tend to linger there or show up there because it's a tragedy.
Like a trauma of some sort.
Yes.
So maybe something's happened to the little girl. Maybe.
It would be so interesting to find out the history of that place.
And her spirit lingers in that room. Yeah?
Yes.
Very strange.
So what
kind of
what kind of artwork are you doing today?
My artwork is going to be a Halloween-based artwork. It's going to be some sort of monster or creature. Okay, I'm just going to go along with it. See what comes up. See what I can come up with. Yeah.
Okay. So you have the capability to change your camera to your drawing and then change it back to your face when you tell
I certainly have. I will mute my camera and I will just change it onto the drawing board. Yeah?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Would you like me to start now?
Well, hold on. Somebody in the chat saying alternative explanation, spooky explanation, is that she could have been living in the walls.
Gosh, she could have been. Now that is that was Lexi. So Lexi, that's a good point. Alternative spooky explanation. She could have been living in the walls. Maybe her remains are in the walls. That would be creepy, wouldn't it?
And now that we have a space because you just finished telling the first story is that I can say hello. Some new people just came in. Rosalie, hi Rosalie, and Redheaded Riding Hood is a shout out to Redheaded Riding Hood. She's a loyal paying channel member, and her channel link is linked down below in the description box. And her channel is about poetry, mainly about storytelling, poetry, because she's written around 3 poetry books, storytelling, poetry, and cooking. So shout out to Redheaded Riding Hood. She's a loyal paying channel member. Thank you, Red, for the support.
Hello, Red.
For help support this channel.
Hello, Red. Red does create fantastic poems, I must say. I've heard some of her poems, yeah, and they're really great. Hello, Rosalie. Hello, Madonna.
We have a bunch of artists in here. We have quite a few artists in here today.
There's Alex in there. Yeah, Alec.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is in there. There's a few. Grayscale. Hello, Grayscale.
Hey, another artist, yes.
Grayscale's a great artist. Wow. Yeah. Madonna's fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool gamer.
Well, they're both very fantastic realistic artists.
Yeah, I watched some of Grayscale's live streams.
Oh yeah, and
He's done some
Grayscale
great.
does some really great fantasy paintings too, especially
He
a lot of
does.
times with that gorilla. Who's that gorilla?
Yes, I think I watched that one. That was a little while ago. What did he do? What did I can't remember what I watched, you know. It was a fantasy-based one. I'll have to check it out again. But it was really good. Yeah.
So, hold on, let me read the chat. I just wanted
Yep.
Everybody, a lot of people are saying in here they love ghost stories.
Yes, I think a lot of people like ghost stories. It's, you know, people like to be scared or spooked out, or creeped out by ghost stories. I've got 2 more ghost stories if I can tell them throughout this live stream. Okay. 2 pretty creepy stories.
Yeah, but we should space them out. So now
Yes,
we should
we'll space them out.
do some artwork, and then
Right.
we go back to the second. So you're going to tell us a total of 3 today. Is that right?
Yes, the first one's been told. The mysterious little girl has been told. The other 2 are the figure in the road experienced by Tony Metcalf, my brother-in-law, and his ex-partner. And the third one, now what will I tell for the third one? The monk, the ghostly apparition of a monk, an ancient monk. So that's the third one. Okay, that's the other 2 stories. Yep.
I'm getting out my Halloween collage paper. Look at this, skeletons on one side.
I like that.
And
that's nice
spider webs on the other side. I have all different collection Halloween collage paper that I will add to this unfinished painting. Something.
Hello, Greg. Wisconsin Greg.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Wisconsin Greg.
Morgan's World of YouTube.
What?
Have you seen that? It's Morgan's World of YouTube. You know who that is?
No.
Do you not know who that is? Morgan's World of YouTube.
Oh, I haven't heard of it.
That's my nephew. That is my nephew.
I think I knew of him a few months ago. Now I forgot about him. Yeah.
I think so. Yes, Morgan. Hello, Morgan.
Oh, Morgan's here. Hi, Morgan.
And Greg.
And Greg is one of our most recent art giveaway winner from last Thursday, last Friday, last Friday I did a game stream and had a winner, and he was the lucky random winner, and he won some art.
Congratulations. Congratulations on that. That's fantastic. It's great when you win a piece of artwork, isn't it? An original piece of artwork is always good.
Well, it's not original. It's a print. Sorry,
print.
It was a digital art, and all my digital art can only be print.
Well, even a print's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah. I've got quite a few prints, and they're great. Prints now look fantastic with the technology. Yeah, of producing them.
And I get canvas. I get prints done on stretch canvas so it can hang on the wall.
Oh, it's awesome! That's great. So do you print yours on a canvas? So
yeah,
it gives
I use a specific commercial company that really good, and you can get it printed on any different surface. I prefer stretch canvas, but I might experiment because I'm not so happy with. I mean, they're a very good printer, but I'm not happy with how my digital art looks when it's printed out, and I'm like, I don't know. There's something missing, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to work on that. But I'm all different sizes depending on how big my file size is. I usually can't make my file sizes. I mean, not usually, but often make my file sizes as big as 30 by 40 inches. So it can be printed any size up to 30 by 40 inches. And this printer has all surfaces, even metal. It could be printed on metal. I never tried that. I think it could be printed on wood or something.
Wood, yes, I've seen the prints on wood. They look good.
Oh.
I think slices of tree by the looks of it, because you can see the bark on the outside. And
That sounds interesting.
there was a company not in where I live, not too far from where I live, that used to print on these slices of wood trees, and the bark, you could see the bark around the slice, and the print was on they looked quite beautiful, quite nice, to be honest with you.
That.
So have a look for that, because they're very decorative. It's fantastic. I like those decoupages, not decoupage. What other montage paper?
Like, what do you mean? Like, as it printed out? Are you talking about a print?
Those sheets you're using, Diana. What are they?
I call these collage papers.
Collage papers. They're great. Halloween.
Yeah. So.
Halloween collage papers. Good stuff.
So let's see. Like, let me check the time for when you would want to tell your second ghost story.
Right. I don't know. Just thinking about.
How long can you stay? Do you have it? So how long will you be able to stay?
I can stay until about 9 o'clock if you want. Whenever you want to stay. But 9 o'clock's my cut-off time.
Oh, okay.
So you're talking about 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours.
That's
9:30. 9:30. So 1.5 hours. Unless you want to cut it sooner, it's up to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I don't have any deadline. I don't know. No, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, just depending.
I could stretch it out a little bit.
So let's ask the audience. Okay, so let's take a vote. You're gonna take a vote. So right now, do you want to hear? Because he's only going to tell us a total of 3 today, and he's already told us 1 spooky story, and Davy's only going to tell us a total of 3 spooky stories today, and he's already told us 1. So right now, who wants spooky story number 2 told right now, or do you want our cameras just to go to our spooky artwork next? Because we haven't done our spooky artwork yet. So in the chat, say spooky art or spooky story.
A quick spooky story or straight into the artwork? What do you think?
So you could just say
type it in the chat. Get it in that chat.
Art or story?
Spooky art. Spooky art. Madonna and Lexi.
2 votes for spooky art. Art next. 3 votes for art. 3 votes for the art.
Hello, Alec. There's 3 spooky arts. Anybody else in the chat that's brave enough to type in the chat? Art, Greg, and Alec. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, Alec. So it's spooky art, yeah?
Okay, so I guess put your camera on your art. That's what we're going to do now.
Right. Yeah, we'll go then. I'll just mute it for now, and I'll just prepare me camera.
And everybody, you can see I have an unfinished page there, and I thought this would be good. I looked through my art journal and I thought, oh, these are nice spooky dark colors. This looks like a good start to a Halloween picture. And then I'm working in my spiral bound art journal, and then I have a collection of Halloween collage papers that somehow I'm just going to add to this. Just make like my thing. See,
let's get the light on.
Double-sided. Look at this skeleton on one side, spider web on the other. Here, like Happy Halloween on this side, but pumpkins this side. I don't like double-sided collage paper that good because you might want to use one side and then you cut it. But let's see.
I think that's just about it. I hope everyone can see that. I'm trying not to cast a shadow it's very difficult not to cast a shadow.
Yes, we can
So
see
I wonder if,
a gray table.
yep, it's on the table. I wonder if I could just move this, my lamp, and put it there, so it illuminates better, like that. Oh, it's a bit better. So let's move the camera. Let's get rid of this paper. Let's do a spooky or scary looking creature, yeah, monster. So this monster might be, I don't know, you might see this monster somewhere in the forest. If you're strolling along in the forest.
Oh, I don't want to see a monster. I don't know. I wouldn't want to see a monster like that.
Right. Not that anybody would be strolling in the forest late at night. I don't think that's an advisable thing to do.
Unless they're camping. It could happen if you're camping.
You're camping. This is the scene, okay? You're camping. And you hear a noise. And you decide to look outside. And in the distance, through the trees, you see this thing, okay? So here we go. Let's see what I can do. So I have a question for everybody in chat. As far as ghosts are concerned, the supernatural, does everybody believe in ghosts? Or do you think they're a figment of people's imagination?
Okay, I believe in ghosts, but I don't want to see them. And I believe it when I believe it when people say that they've seen them. I believe it, but I really do not want to see one and one that makes me scared. I don't want to see any kind of entity that would make me scared. It would be okay for me to see some kind of entity of light if it didn't make me feel scared, like maybe because it probably be a good entity, like a positive entity. But if it was an evil kind of entity, I really like a ghost. I don't want to see. I believe, but I don't want to see them.
Yeah, me too. Answer. What does everybody else think? Ghosts? Would you like to see a ghost? In the chat.
Alex says no. Doesn't want to.
No ghosts for Alec. Lexi's got a good point there. You're never supposed to want to see a monster. That's the point. That is a good point, that. No one wants to see a monster.
Rosalie says, I never seen a ghost, but sometimes I feel it.
Yep, that's strange. I think sometimes when you feel, the hairs on the back of your neck tingle, and you think something is in the room with you, I think that's even scarier. That's really scary. When you get that feeling that you're being watched.
And Alex says he does not believe in ghosts.
Alec does not believe in ghosts. So maybe he doesn't want to see a ghost. Yeah.
Lexi says she thinks she might like to see a ghost, but it would shatter her worldview.
Yes. Now that's strange from Lexi. Madonna believes, yes. Yeah. And agrees with Rosalie. So Lexi there, how would it change your view? I wonder how it would change your worldview if you saw a ghost.
Yeah, how would it change your worldview? We'll have to wait a while for her to type that in, probably.
Yeah, your worldview. I'm just doing the basic structure of the monster, which I've decided to base on like an insect, like a spider. It's got 4 eyes. Yeah. And an ant. It's got ant's mandibles. So it's a bit of an insect thing, this. Let's get this here. I think I'll give it some teeth.
And you're drawing with pencil right now?
This is a pen.
Oh, so right. You never draw with pencil and have to erase or anything, or want to erase?
Oh no, it's best to just jump in with the pen. That's what I think anyway. And it doesn't matter if you make mistakes.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes mistakes.
Yeah, I've worked both ways, right?
Yes. I mean, I do use pencil, but it's not very often. But I think if you make mistakes, right, in whatever you do, it can actually add. I think all of the artists in this chat will know this, including you, Diana. Accidents can really help your artwork. Well, so this is what I'm. Sorry, Diana.
Oh, go ahead. When you're finished, then I would say I was just going to say reply to that.
Yeah. I was just going to say these are the pens that I'll use. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the two pens that I normally use. This one gives a very light mark on the pen, lovely for shading. And this one gives a very dark black mark, as you'll see when I start using this pen. Okay, so I'll place that over there, ready to be used. The spider at the top here, look, is keeping an eye on this pen. There we go. I'm just putting in a very rough image here, sketching it in first, then I will start on the detail.
Madonna says Davy is a brave man for not erasing.
Oh, thank you, Madonna.
So my experience when I work with an acrylic painting, well, first of all, many times I create the composition first digitally. That way I can change it around and fix my mistakes and really change it around and play with colors and change things around constantly until I get the composition the way I want. I don't always have to work like this, but for my most recent art show that I had 20 paintings in, I worked mostly like this. Then I have a grid. I grid it up onto the canvas, the larger canvas, and pretty much keep those key compositional elements the same. And then I paint, and then I don't always. I am constantly working it out. Like I don't paint something like, oh, this is exactly. I know how to paint it. I know how to paint it. It's exactly the way it's good. No, it's like I'm trying to figure it out. I'm figuring it out. Like most of these 20 paintings that were in my most recent show, I pretty much was figuring it out. Like, how do you paint this? How do you paint that? And I just had to try to figure it out and make mistakes and then the only good thing about when an acrylic painting is that when you make mistakes, it can be an interesting layer that could show underneath if you make the other layers thin enough, but otherwise they just get covered over.
Yeah.
But it can add to interesting layers underneath.
That's great.
And I use chalk. I use chalk on the canvas, not pencil, because chalk is much easier, or soft pastel or chalk, because it's easier to wipe away on a canvas than a pencil.
All right. That's interesting. Some of those paintings that you created for that show, Diana, were very spectacular and very, very, they were fantastical. They were very spiritual,
mystical. I like to say, mystical.
There was one mystical. That's it, mystical. That's the word.
Like, for example, on the one painting called The Whole, it was based on the maiden archetype, because all my 20 paintings were based on the divine female archetypes, and one of the archetypes is called the maiden. And so I did two versions of the maiden. And one version I did, she's holding a crystal ball with a tiger, a growling tiger with his mouth open over her shoulder. I've never painted a tiger. I never painted a tiger, so I actually watched a little tutorial on how to paint a tiger, and then followed and got some tips from that. And then the crystal ball, I couldn't get it right. I wanted to get, so I just had to look at, keep looking at pictures on Pinterest to get it right. And maybe I did watch a little tutorial. I forget it. I don't know if I got help from that or not.
Yeah.
But So, like painting a lot of things I've never painted before.
Right. Well, you've certainly done a good job, because that was a great show you put on.
Oh, thank you.
With those artworks. There was one particular painting, right, which was my favourite, I think. I don't know if you included it in your show or not.
Oh yeah, what one?
It was a figure that was blue. There was a lot of blue in it.
There was two of them.
Right.
So are you talking about the one where there's figures in silhouette and they're standing in the foreground and middle ground, and then there's a big white in there, like a big white opening, could be the moon, or and they're like standing in a vortex. That was called the vortex.
No, I don't think it was that one. It was
so it was an angel, like kind of an angel type figure,
yes,
in a gown.
Yes, that's it.
Those two I've sold. Those two I sold recently.
I thought that was one of your best ones. I knew that would sell.
That one actually, she had seen it first last January and spent all these months thinking about it, and finally contacted me in June that she wanted to buy it.
And she snapped it up.
And the other blue one was the vortex, and that one did sell at my show.
All right.
Yeah.
That is the one. The angel-like one.
I can't believe it. I'm surprised that one was your favorite.
That was, you see, this is the thing, right? When you're looking at artworks and stuff, some just absolutely pop out at you, and they make contact with you. Whatever's going on in your brain, I don't know what it is, but your brain just.
I had my own favorites, and that one wasn't one of my favorites.
Ah, right. What was your favorite then? Here's the question. Okay.
The one that was called Turning Point. My number one favorite is it's a reclining nude, and
right.
And she's laying down and looking straight at the viewer, and it's called Turning Point.
Turning Point. Right. I'll have to check that out then. So that is your favorite.
That was for a long time, that's my number one favorite, but I have close ones. I mean, close seconds, or ones that are probably could also be called number one, or they're just close seconds or whatever.
All right. I'll have to check that out. I'll have to look at them again, because some of them are very large scale as well, I noticed.
Yeah, most of the paintings in that show were 30 by 40 inches.
Oh, they're big. For my standard anyway of paintings, what I see is big, large scale. Yeah. And they looked pretty spectacular.
Yeah, now before I painted them, I had to make sure, I'm like, okay, if I don't sell these, because I'm probably, chances are I'm not going to be selling most of these, am I going to have room in my house? And I figured out the wall space, how I can hang about 10 paintings on the second floor. And I haven't done it yet, but I had to figure out where's the wall space for hanging these. If I actually create these this big, am I going to have wall space at my house for most of these? Yep. And I do for like 10 of them, and then the other ones, maybe those could just be leaned against the wall or something, but we haven't done that yet. We have to hang them up. And the first floor, actually, there's hardly any room for hanging art. And the second floor, that was the only place. There's about space for 10 or 11 of the 30 by 40 inches.
All right.
No, that's
so you're running out of space then, I would imagine.
And what was that?
Because you do create a lot of art.
So what was that? I
think your volume has went. Oh, dear me.
Can you guys hear me? Hello. Let me check my ball. Hello. Okay, let me check audio. Hello. Oh no, my audio is working. Hello. Oh, Davy, can you hear me? So, people in the chat, you can hear me. Seems like a Davy issue. Uh-oh, we better hear his second spooky story. Okay, what's Davy saying in the chat? Let's see. Okay. Oh, now we lost Davy. He's probably gonna come back. Okay, hopefully we have Davy coming back. I'm waiting and looking backstage for Davy to come back. Davy is the ghost now. Okay, Alec, I'll drop the link. Did you hear me? Okay, just now I will. Just a moment. Oh, Davy's back. Okay, hi Davy. Welcome back.
Well, I'm just having a little bit of trouble here. I'm going to set my cam up again. My mic's working okay, but my cam isn't, yeah?
Oh, now your audio isn't as good. Just be patient, Alec, please. I'm getting it. Oops, we lost Davy again. Okay.
Right, I'm back. Sorry about that, everybody.
Yeah, do you know what the issue is?
I don't know what happened there. Everything seemed to go off. It may have been an internet connection fault.
So the ghost came to visit you?
It could be. It could be that ghost again.
Thank you, Rosalie.
Because I did have a little experience. So it could be that. So
you can keep the camera on your art even while you tell the second spooky story. So why don't you go ahead and you don't need to put the camera back on your face. You can tell the second spooky story right there.
Oh yes, I'll tell it while I'm drawing, yeah?
Yes. So everybody get ready. Get your popcorn for our second spooky story.
Yes. So get ready, everybody, for a very short spooky story. But watch out. You may have to look behind your back or over your shoulder while I tell this story. Because you never know what might be lurking. Right, here we go, the second spooky story of the night. My brother-in-law, Tony, was driving home quite late at night with his ex-partner, They were driving quite happily along the road, the motorway, chatting casually. Everything was okay. Then some mist appeared. There was quite a bit of mist actually. They entered. The weather forecast did say there was going to be mist, so they were expecting mist or fog. So a slight mist started to appear over the road. But as they were driving along the motorway, they noticed a human figure, okay, walked in front of the car, right in front of the car. And before they could do anything, they drove right through it. It was a very hazy figure, but it was a human. Okay, it was actually a person.
Yeah.
And they drove right through the figure, and they couldn't believe what had happened. It stood out. It actually stood out. And they both didn't say a word for a few minutes. And then my brother-in-law turned to his ex-partner and asked, "Did you just see what happened?" And she said, "Yes." She said, "You've just drove through a person."
I just drove through a person.
Yeah, you've just drove through a person. And they couldn't believe it, what they'd witnessed. This very strange figure of a human being, okay? So that's a very quick ghostly story, courtesy of my brother-in-law, Tony.
And that's true. It's a true story, right?
True story. He came back home. He next time he visited. This was a long time ago. This was a number of years ago. And he told with the story. Yeah, he was extremely surprised. So what do you think of that one? What did they see?
So my question is, did they like look back and see if they had hit somebody, or like just to? Did they just wonder?
I think Tony would have probably looked in his wing mirror, just to see what was behind him, and I don't think he saw anything. But this person appeared right in front of them, and it was like a silhouette of a person. But, you know, it was standing right in front of the road. Arms, legs, head. And
but Donna said that's scary. And
yeah,
Lexi, I like that story.
Yes, thank you, Lexi. I'm glad you like that one. Yes, Madonna, it is a bit scary, that one. Imagine saying that in the middle of the road. And before you can do anything, you drive into it.
And then you realize, well, nothing was really there. And then you're kind of relieved. Well, then you're kind of relieved.
Yes. So that was the Phantom of the Road. That story. It was like a phantom person.
And did that happen to the same person that with a firefighter story?
Oh no, that was a different person. That was a guy called Bill, who was my friend, and he's retired now. He's a retired gentleman. He used to be a firefighter, and that was one of the stories he told us. He had a lot of stories, but that was the only ghost story he told us.
So Alec joined us on the panel. Hi, Alec.
Hello, Alec. Nice to see you, man.
Okay.
I can't see him.
So.
But there's a big circle with his name on it.
Right, and Alec, if you're talking, we can't hear you, so I don't know what about your audio. And then you also have a third story. Is that a longer one or a short one?
It's a little bit longer than that one. A little bit. Would you like us to tell a third story? As I'm sketching? Or will I save it for a few minutes?
Hold on, let me say. Oh yeah, because we still have plenty of time. Well, you still have plenty of time. We still have plenty of time, but
yeah, got loads of time.
But you said you know lots of stories, but you were only going to tell 3.
Lots and lots. I could tell you other stories. My nephew, I'm telling you, well, close relatives, really. Stories from my close relatives and friends. Here's a quick one for you. Okay, quick ghostly story. One of my many nephews, okay, he's called John. Now, late at night, he was awoken, okay? He woke up in the middle of the night. Everybody was asleep in his house. But for some bizarre reason, he woke up, which I don't think occurred at all with John. He never woke up, as far as I know. But on this occasion, he woke up and it was very dark. And he needed the loo, the toilet, yeah? Because when you've got to go, you've got to go, yeah? Doesn't matter what time it is.
Right.
So he thought, well, I've got the urge to go to the toilet. And he's only a young lad at about this time, about 15 years old, okay, at the time of this story. So John got out of bed and he went to the toilet. And as he was doing his business in the loo, everybody was asleep. He turned the light on. Something caught his eye to the side of him. In the bath was lying a man dressed in a leather jacket, red hair, moustache, and jeans and boots, and he was just smiling very pleasantly at John. And John was so tired he got a shock, but he sort of stumbled and he dashed out the bathroom, jumped into bed, and fell asleep. And then the next morning, well, that's when he told everybody what he had seen. Now here's now I don't know what people think of that, right? Was he dreaming? Maybe. But here's the strange, creepy thing about it. This was talked about quite a bit. And the next door neighbour, my sister's next door neighbour, my sister told them about it. And they came out with this. Okay, this is the neighbours. The mother said to my sister, before you moved into this house, there was a family lived here. They were very nice. But a man, one of the men, the sons, used to ride a motorcycle and he crashed it and he died. And she said, John, his description that's an exact description of the man who crashed his motorcycle and died. So the guy who he saw in the bath is the guy who drove his motorcycle and died.
Right, that's what I was telling you about tragedy. A lot of times a tragedy is what makes a ghost appear.
Yes, that's strange, isn't it? And it's when you're least expecting it as well, by the sounds of it. Yeah. So I don't know what everybody thinks of that story. That's a very strange and creepy story.
Very sad.
Oh,
hello, Alex. Nice to chat to you and to see you on here. Watch out for those spiders, by the way, Alec. There's a one in the corner here, just above. I'm trying to waft it away, but it's not going anywhere. Watch out. You might see it on your screen.
Your creature is scary.
I'm just shading it in now.
But is that like a realistic close up of a real spider? Is that anatomically what spiders really look like close up?
No, this is just purely out of my head.
Oh, okay.
It's whatever image pops into my head. Yeah. So I've got to do a lot of detail on the face here. Yeah. But I'm just doing this section for now. Just move it over a little bit so you can see. So this section here, I'm just starting to detail up to the face. Then I'm going to do, I'll do these mandibles. Okay. Now I wonder if Alec is going to go on his cam, or is he having cam trouble?
Oh no, he is showing his cam goes off and on, but I don't know if he does that on purpose or not.
All right. Okay. That's okay.
And Madonna said, "Oh wow, so his spirit was visiting him."
Yes. Yes, Madonna. It looks like that his spirit, the guy's spirit who crashed his motorcycle and killed him, that guy's spirit came and revealed himself to John.
And Alex said that's sad, and that's very sad and scary.
I think it is. There's a sadness to that one.
Yeah, because you knew the reason why. The other ghosts, like the little girl, that probably was a sad story behind her too, but we just didn't know it.
I wonder what happened to her. She might have, well, she's obviously dead. Maybe being killed. There could have been a fire.
Right.
Maybe.
Oh yeah,
a lot of these buildings where I live have caught fire, caught alight in their lifetime, in their history. Now, one of the stories I'm going to tell you definitely a little bit later, maybe, if we've got time. I'm sure we will. Is about the Phantom Monk. Okay.
Phantom Monk.
Yes, the Phantom Monk.
Yeah.
And this story I heard from a lot of my family members. Okay. And people who had witnessed it. A lot of people who witnessed this ghost. And it scared the living daylights out of them as well. So this ghost, its presence was pretty scary. Or a lot of people got scared about this one.
And this story was told down through the generations of your family?
Well, this story was told when I was a young lad of about 8 years old. Now, bearing in mind, I'm 57 years old now. Okay, I'm 57.
Oh,
so this was told to me 50 years ago. It's a 50-year-old story. And me, being a young lad, when I was playing with my toys, I would eavesdrop and listen to what my family was saying. Stories and such, yeah?
Right.
And one of the stories I heard was this. And I thought, whoa, the monk. So I would overhear these things being mentioned. But a little bit later on, I got the full story. So I'll tell that very soon, yeah?
Yes.
It's an interesting one. It's historical as well. It's a historical story. A little bit of history, anyway.
It's a story that not just your family knows, but a lot of people know.
Yeah, a lot of people witnessed it. There was a bunch of people. Hello, Alec. He's on webcam. It's good to see you. Can I just say that's a fantastic kitchen you've got. It's better than my kitchen.
Green screen out.
That's better than my kitchen.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
My kitchen's 2 foot by 2 foot.
It's the Golden Girls kitchen.
It's the what?
The Golden Girls kitchen.
Oh, very good.
Oh, the Golden Girls. Oh, yeah.
At first I thought, this Alec here, he's very rich. He must live in a mansion. Because that's one hell of a kitchen.
Yeah, it's super nice.
The Golden Girls kitchen. Do you know what? My wife is a big fan of the Golden Girls.
Oh, is she?
And if she's watching now, I think. She might be watching now. But if she isn't, I'm going to have to maybe tomorrow show her this part of the live stream.
Yeah.
She loves the Golden Girls. She loves them. Susan.
Wow.
My wife's called Susan. She loves them.
Well, I just want to say this. I'm so glad I finally got to come on the panel because Diana's been so many times and I keep missing everything.
You're breaking up a little bit, your voice. Your voice is just
your
breaking
audio,
up a
your
little
audio's
bit,
breaking up.
Alec. It's, yeah, just a little bit. Artie's fan. He's got a fan, so that is breaking it up.
Oh, that's probably why.
So here we go. Let's sketch this. You're doing some nice work there, Diana.
Yeah, I changed. I finished. I couldn't figure out what to do on the last one, so now I'm working on. I'm making this into a Halloween picture.
That's good. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in that painting, and it is a small-sized painting.
Yeah. Thank you. So I don't want to take it too seriously because it's my art journal, but I don't know. I still kind of take it. I still kind of take it seriously. But do you ever do artwork that you don't care how it looks? Like you just do it for the process, for that process of how it just makes, like for the feel. Yes, you do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, I think exactly the same as you. Like this is a sketch. It's more of a sketch. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just exploring shapes here. That's all I do. I'm just trying to find shapes in this scribble that I've created. So I might say, oh, that's a nice shape. So I'll shade it in. I don't know where it's going, but I don't take it too seriously because this is a part of my sketchbook. And everything I do in my sketchbook, I don't take too seriously. I mean, if you were to look in my sketchbooks, there's a lot of rubbish.
Really? Well, I bet what you think is rubbish is really good.
I should have, you know what? I should do it.
No, let's show me right now. I want to see something you think is rubbish.
Rubbish. Hold on. Will I get one of my sketchbooks?
There's someone in chat.
Yeah. I could do a sketchbook flip through.
I want to just see some things that you think are rubbish.
Oh, I couldn't show you something that's rubbish. Because I don't think, tell me what you think, right? Diana, Alec, and everybody in the chat, okay? Because there's a lot of artists.
I want to know. Lexi says, bring out the rubbish.
Yes, there's a lot of artists in this chat, some great artists, right?
Hi,
Wait 1 second.
Hi, Radical Changes. He's an old friend. How you doing?
Hi, Radical.
Yeah. I was trying to tell you it was in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my question is to all of you artists out there in the chat and on screen here. This is the question. Do you really want to reveal your sketchbook images? Are they to be revealed, or do you think they should be kept in reserve for only your eyes? Yes, or are you very happy revealing your sketchbook images?
Some of the artwork in my art journal I like, and then some of my art journal, the artwork in my art journal, I don't like.
Right.
StreamYard has a new feature.
Oh, what?
So when you come up on the panel as a guest, you can join the chat from the panel.
Right.
You go over to comments. You go over to comments. This is join the chat.
What?
Do you mean anybody can join the chat?
Not chat. Anybody can join the chat, but what are you talking about?
Sorry, you mean the video webcam?
But when someone comes on the panel on StreamYard, they can go over to comments, and right at the bottom it says join the chat.
Ah, right.
That's a new feature they have.
Ah.
It says in your settings on StreamYard, it says everyone can view and join the chat.
Ah. That sounds good.
I thought whenever you're on panel, you can always see the chat anyway. I thought you already could do that.
Yeah, you can. but now when you come on the panel, you can also join the chat. You don't have to leave the YouTube tab.
Oh, I see. You don't have to have some separate tab or something. I'm hardly ever a guest anywhere, so I wouldn't know. I'm hardly ever a guest. I'm always usually the hosting.
Yeah. And we have 13 thumbs up.
Wow, very good.
Thank you for the thumbs up.
It's time for a happy dance.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh,
Thank you, everybody.
I wish I had a Halloween happy dance. Let me see. I have 6 versions of the happy dance. So let me see if I have something that I don't think I even have anything close to Halloween.
Oh, Radical says 14 thumbs up in celebration.
Yes,
14 thumbs, everybody, in celebration. I am going to reveal my snack of the night. My Halloween snack of the night. Are you ready?
What's that?
Here we go. Drum roll. Halloween snack of the night.
Oh, snack. Oh, okay.
That's my Halloween snack of the night. Chunky Kit Kat.
What is it? What is it?
It's a chunky Kit Kat.
Uh,
Does anybody know what that is?
Kit Kats. I know what Kit Kat candy is. Yeah.
Well, this is a chunky Kit Kat.
Oh, okay.
It's a huge Kit Kat. See how thick it is. Yeah. Very good. There's my Halloween snack of the night.
Something else happened this week. Not Red. Red made me a moderator in your chat.
She already was. That's not new.
I think Red joins in quite a bit, doesn't she?
Red made me a mod in her chat.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Okay, here's Happy Dance for thank you for the 13 thumbs up.
That was a very spectacular happy dance.
I gotta read first. Don't read it.
That was a spectacular happy dance. I think Alec has gone.
Okay, bye, Alec. Thank you for joining us.
See you, Alec. It was nice to see you.
Oh, that happy dance. My computer has a lag to it, so I put like stop the happy dance, and then because there's a lag, I was like, okay, and then I would hit that again, and then it made it be on again. It's super loud. Like, I don't know what's going on with this audio today, with my audio. My volume control is not even working. It's like my volume control is not working.
You sound pretty good from my side of the.
Well, thank you. It has to do with my laptop. My microphone is new, so that should be good. But okay, at least it's not affecting my microphone. But for my speaker, I have no control over my speaker. There's no volume control. The volume is not working on my speaker.
All right.
I might have to call tech support about that.
Well, that's not good. When the volume goes, it's not good.
Well, anyway, they're very good tech support. I really liked them.
Oh, it's good. That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. I'm moving on with a sketch. So sketchbooks and stuff. I wonder how many artists there.
I don't call it a sketchbook. I used to call it a sketchbook until 7 years ago when I joined YouTube. I had been calling it sketchbook my whole life. My whole life I've been calling it, because I'm a lifelong artist, I have been calling it a sketchbook my whole life until I joined YouTube and discovered the whole world of art journaling and mixed media artists. I mean, I know about mixed media art, but they called it art journaling. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know about all this art journaling and all the supplies.
Art journaling.
Yeah, so I don't call it a sketchbook anymore. I call it an art journal.
Art journal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a journey.
Yeah, and art journaling usually involves a lot of mixed media supplies.
Right. So it's a journey through images.
Yeah, and it's the same book, the same kind of book that a sketchbook would be. I just call it different.
Right. That's good. I've watched some art journaling, and I think you've done some videos.
Yes, I have, yeah.
And there's a few people in my subscriptions who are art journalers, like Jodie LeFay. I think that's her name.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking. I follow her sometimes. I have followed her.
She's an art journaler, and she's from the UK.
Right.
And there's a few other ones from Australia and stuff, and New Zealand, I think. Art journaling. I've got a question for you. Now, I don't know if there's any crafters in the chat or watching this live stream, because I know not everybody likes to type in the chat. Some people just like to watch. Yeah. So I wonder if anybody knows anything about decoupage. Have you heard that term?
I've heard it. I know what it is. And I first knew about that many years ago, decoupage. So that's when you use some kind of varnish medium to adhere some kind of picture to a piece of wood or something, right?
You're sort of on the right tracks. Decoupage. My wife was a very accomplished crafter at one stage.
Oh, okay.
Okay. She'd done a lot of crafting. And one of the things that I loved what she used to do was decoupage artworks. And that's the building up of layers of images to create a 3-dimensional artwork. And I think that's what it is.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be wood.
It could be layers. It's usually sheets. Do you know those sheets you've got? The Halloween sheets.
Oh, yeah. I call them collage paper.
Collage. Well, let's say you took 4 of those sheets, right? Identical. But you started to put, you cut them out. And then you would glue the first layer down. Then you would take part of the second layer, the second sheet, and stick it on top of that. And it would create a 3D image, if you know what I mean. No. So in this image here, this would be the first layer. So let's say I cut out this horn from another sheet and glued it on top of here, so it stood above the paper, creating more depth. Yeah, and maybe the eyes.
I'm trying to imagine what you're talking about. I don't know. I have to see it.
Decoupage. Does anybody know about decoupage? We need some crafters. It's very hard to explain. Alec is backstage, and he would like.
Okay, but he drops off a lot. So one more time. That's it, because a lot of times he keeps dropping off over and over and over again. So
okay. And you'd like to show off the picture.
I had to refresh, y'all breaking up on me.
Oh, okay. You're still breaking up. Your audio's still breaking up.
Yes, it's breaking up a little bit, but your kitchen's okay there. Right, Lexi's talking about decoupage. I thought it was any time you collaged with. Yeah, it is. I think that's it. But you build up the layers to a more of a 3D effect.
Davey, you can read what's in the chat, right?
I can, yes.
Oh, okay. So I don't always have to read it to you. That's good. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, that
So-
saves me. Since I have a vision disability, that helps me.
That's good. Okay. So Lexi says, this is what Lexi says.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew the exact definition of decoupage. I thought it was any time you collaged with translucent papers. It's sort of collage, but with a 3D effect. Okay. So it's collage, but with a sort of collage, but with a 3D effect. You're creating a 3D image. So the image comes off the paper. That's decoupage. I think I've got that right.
I think there's another definition for it, because when I was growing up, that the definition we had was the one I explained about, where you decoupage like some kind of decorative paper onto wood.
Right. Let's have a look. I've got it up here. Okay.
Yeah.
Decoupage here. I might be wrong here. Actually, I might be leading you all down the wrong path. Just my explanation. Decoupage is a hugely fun and calming craft for any age and any ability. Use decoupage paper to transform mache shapes, upcycle accessories and furniture. So Wikipedia says about decoupage, or it goes on a lot about decoupage. I'm not reading all that.
So you can decorate furniture with it, right?
Yes,
That's
you
my
can,
idea
yes.
about putting like a paper design, like a design that was on
Decoupage.
paper. You can decoupage it onto furniture, wood.
Yeah. Let's have a look here. Decoupage.
Am I good now?
There's a 3D decoupage and there's a 2-dimensional decoupage. So you can build up a decoupage to make it 3 dimensions, the image, which is very spectacular. And that's what my wife used to do. Yeah, doing decoupage, 3D decoupage.
Decorate furniture? Are you saying she decorated furniture?
No, she used to create images that were sort of 3D by gluing on multiple layers of the same image. So she would, so it would appear, it would raise off the paper.
Yeah.
The first layer creates a 3D image.
Oh, I think I kind of get what you mean. I don't think I've ever seen something like that, but I think I'm understanding. I think I understand what you're saying now.
I wish I had an example to show you, but I haven't, unfortunately.
I know. You don't have a...
I don't even
Am
know.
I still staticky?
You're breaking up less. You're breaking up less, but
You're breaking up.
You're breaking up less. Like, that's good. You're not breaking up so much.
Yeah, I think I had the reduced background noise on in the StreamYard settings. But I guess that didn't help with the fan.
Madonna said,
Diana, I also got one of Diana's paintings. It was a print though.
Yeah, print. Of his choice, one that he told me he liked, so I sent him something.
Yep. Anyway, hey Rosalie.
Madonna said, yes, we did decoupage a lot when I was younger. We would use glue or Mod Podge to seal pics on any surfaces, stacking the same image to make it 3D looking.
Oh.
So you're creating it's like not a montage, but multiple layers of the same image to raise it up to look 3-dimensional. And it looks really good. You should try it out, Diana. I think.
Thank you, but I won't. I have too many things to do. I will never be trying that out.
This will just add more.
Maybe somebody in the chat might be inspired too. Maybe somebody in the chat, but it won't be me.
It'll add more stress to you, and you'll have less time. Another thing to try out.
Did just will require more materials, and I have no more materials. We
Well,
busting at the seams, and I have to work at decluttering and not bringing more things in. That would just require more materials.
yes, it is. It's more. You used to be able to buy the big sheet packs of decoupage, the decoupage packs. Can anybody remember Ideal World? I wonder if anybody can remember Ideal World.
Is that what was that? A material, a
It was
TV show, or what?
It was a TV company, and it used to be, they used to sell lots of things online and on the TV. It was like a sales channel. Ideal World.
Bye. Okay, Alex said he's going home. Bye, Alec.
See you, Alec. See you later. Well, Ideal World, I think, has collapsed.
I never heard of that. Maybe that was only in the UK.
Maybe it was. It might have been, Diana. But it's now collapsed, and it's no longer in existence.
Right.
Apparently.
Because Amazon crushed it?
I think probably I think Amazon crushes a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The evil overlord.
I think it is. But it's so good. I think a lot of people.
So I know, evil overlord, but I still. Well, actually, I first started using it, depending on it, when I first got my vision disability, and I had to learn how to different way of doing shopping. That's when I first started using. 20 years ago, I started using Amazon, and I'm like, because I have a vision disability, that's like very helpful for me to have things delivered to my house. And I started using Amazon about 20 years ago. Right.
It's good. That's it. It controls everything now, isn't it? It's big. Right. Not too far from where I live, Amazon has built a gigantic building, and it's one of the biggest factories, or should I say warehouse buildings, in the whole country. It's huge. Really? Yes, Amazon. And there's a lot of Amazon workers suddenly appeared on my bus, and they take up all the spaces on the bus.
Really?
There's a lot of, it's a big building.
So they take up spaces, and then people are lacking for seats now.
And here's a bit of trivia for you to do with the USA where I live. Okay, so there's a link, and this link is pretty big. It's a historical link to your country where I live. Now I live beside a place called Washington. Okay. Yeah. Now I do believe in the chat, everybody who's watching this might be interested in this little bit of trivia. So this place, this town where I live beside, Washington, has a link to your country, obviously, because you've got a city, haven't you, called Washington?
Yeah, okay, we have a state called Washington State, and then we have the city, Washington, D.C.
Right, Washington, D.C. Now, who was the USA's first president?
George Washington.
George Washington, yeah?
Yes.
Well, believe it or not, George Washington had an ancestral home in Britain.
Well, I believe it. They all did. I believe that.
Guess where it is? It's right beside where I live.
Ah.
George Washington's ancestral home is here, right beside me.
Well, of course, they all had that European. They all had the European
yes,
heritage.
so,
they came over from Europe.
Yes. So all of our history is your history as well. That's the thing.
Yes.
But there you go. I live very close to the Washington ancestral home.
Where he was born, where George Washington was born?
Might have been.
Where his ancestors were born?
His ancestors, his family. Yeah, the Washington family.
And where he was born?
I don't know about him. but certainly his ancestors. It's his ancestral home.
Yes. Okay.
I think I've got that right. I always check up on what I say just in case I make a right blunder.
Right.
Uh-huh. Oh, there we go. I think it's Washington Old Hall. It's called. In the center of Washington. Okay, listen to this. Washington Old Hall. This is right beside me. Is a historic manor house in Washington, Tyne and Wear. So I'm from Tyne and Wear, England. It lies in the center of Washington, being surrounded by other villages. The building was the ancestral home of the family of George Washington, the first president of the United States of America.
Right. The first president of the United States of America should have been Native American.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
A Native American Indian, maybe.
Yeah.
But what, like Geronimo or somebody like that, or
Yes.
a Sitting Bull? Can I? God, I've got another story to tell you that people might be interested in. And
Okay.
I'm just going to head over to my desk and pick out this item. Right, 2 seconds. So here's a little bit of trivia. But I think this is Canadian actually, so it's not. It hasn't really got no. Yeah, it's a Canadian story. We were visited, like my wife's family, many years ago, was visited by a real Indian, Native American Indian, a Canadian Indian. Yeah?
A Canadian Indian?
A Canadian Indian, yeah? Which was very strange, right? Because no one, I don't think anyone had ever seen face to face a Native American Indian. Not in the UK. It's like, it's so rare and unusual, it's unbelievable. So this guy got a lot of attention, I think. But that was way back in either in the 60s or 70s, as far as I know. But it was a Canadian Indian, not a USA Indian.
Right, because Native Americans are all over the North American continent, and
they are, yes,
and probably probably beyond.
Have you met any Indians, Diana? Or?
Native American.
Yes.
Native Americans, yeah.
Or would you like to meet any? Or?
No, I have people. No, I've met people. Not really that are 100% Native American. I've met people that have a certain percentage of Native American blood.
Right. All right.
Yeah, I had an ex-boyfriend who had a certain percentage of Native American blood.
All right. Very good. That's interesting. Because usually we're more familiar with them than us in the UK. Yeah.
And what about the UK?
I'm just saying we aren't familiar with Native American Indians.
Okay.
We'd all be stunned if we saw one. Now, radical changes in the chat.
And then,
radical changes.
Closer to where I live. I mean, there's Native American run casinos.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So they run casinos.
Yeah. So it helps. It helps support their community. They run their own.
I think it would.
They run their own casinos, and that helps support their community.
You know, that's a good idea, actually. That's a really good idea because you can get big bucks from casinos. I was just saying there, Diana, radical changes in the chat.
Oh yeah, what was he saying?
Well, he says there are many Native Americans all over the country, the
Oh
globe.
yeah, that's right.
My people come from Mexico. So radical changes. Hello, radical. Are you a Native American or Native Mexican Indian?
Mm-hmm.
That is my question to you. Are you an Indian?
No,
If I may ask.
I've seen him on his videos. To
Are you
me,
Mexican?
of course, he might have that heritage. I don't know. I've seen him, but I don't know what his heritage is. But from seeing him, he looks Caucasian. But I'm sure he has certain heritage. You never know what heritage somebody has.
Can I show you? He is. Yes. Radical said yes. I am.
Oh,
I'm an Indian, a woman, an Indian woman from Mexico. So that's very interesting. My boss is Greece. He's Greek. I cannot speak. I cannot remember any Greek. I know some Greek people, but I cannot remember what the.
so you should visit Radical Change's channel. The channel is about interviewing the homeless.
All right. I wonder if anybody would like to.
Sorry, I didn't know Radical Changes. Your pronouns are she. I didn't know your pronouns are she. So.
She's a woman. Yes,
Yeah,
she.
I didn't know that. So sorry in the past if I made mistakes about that.
She's as far as Greek. As far as what I've read there, yes, I am. She said, I am a woman, so
Okay.
a native Mexican Indian woman, I would say, is from what I can guess. Can I show? I wonder if anybody would be interested in seeing another piece of artwork that I've done, but this is a 3-dimensional miniature bust of a Native American Indian.
When I taught art to because I taught art to children for 25 years, usually it was in the fall that I guess because it was connected with Thanksgiving, but also just in the fall, I would teach a lot of art lessons based on Native American art and stuff.
There's my Native American Indian, which it's the wise old Indian, which I painted quite some time ago, about a couple of years ago.
Yep. Oh, let me see. Oh, I'm not looking. Hold on.
A bit out of focus there, but that's it there. Thank you, Radical.
I can't see it that good, but maybe the other people can.
But there we go anyway. That's my Native American Indian, which stands on my desk.
Ah.
To commemorate my wife's visit from Canadian Indian.
Oh.
So she had this stashed away, yes, for years. And when I found it this year, it was in a right mess. So I repainted it, yeah, in miniature. So there you go.
Okay.
So it's nice and tidy now. Thank you so much, Madonna.
One thing that I would teach a lot, some of the art, I'm trying to think some of the art lessons that I would teach that were Native American inspired, dream catchers. We would make dream catchers.
Well, I know about dream catchers.
What?
I was just saying, yes, I know about dream catchers.
Okay, you do know about them. Yes, they're fun to make with, either you can draw a picture of them, or also the other one was, Oho, the eye of God, they're yarn weaving on 2 cross sticks.
All right.
And they could make them into necklaces. They could wear them like a pendant. They could make as many as they want, and then they could, if they want, they could turn it in, add a long string and make it into a necklace. So yeah. I forget what they call that kind of weaving. But it was the Ojo Dios, which means eye of God. And then dream catchers, we could make dream catchers out of like a stretched out wire hanger and then use yarn. And then trying to think what else. But those were the highlights of it.
That's great. So here's a question, and I've got another question for everybody. So Radical Changes says, this is what she said, my people are the West River Basin Guerrero. And she also said dream catchers are beautiful. So what is a dream catcher? What does it do? What does it do?
Well, the mythology or the belief or whatever, the belief behind it is that you hang a dream catcher over your bed, like not over your bed, like over, like, you know, usually, you know, your bed's against a wall. So over, like on the wall where your bed is up against. And then at nighttime, the belief is that the bad dreams get caught in the dream catcher, and only the good dreams will come to you.
Right. I've got it. That's good. So it is a positive thing. It helps people get rid of their bad dreams. Yeah. Sounds good. There's not much left to draw on this sketch.
Mm-hmm. So,
do you think I should tell you?
So detailed. Yours looks so detailed.
It's just very squiggly and loose, you know. It's very loose.
See, now because of underneath layers, like not like when you don't plan things out, and you're talking about making mistakes and letting mistakes happen. We were talking about that earlier. See, you see in my art journal like that. Now look at this. Like there's like these lines on her face. So what would you suggest? Like I go over it, like just leave it like that, or go over it?
I would leave it like that, to be honest with you.
You would?
No,
why?
No, to
why?
me.
You like it? Because you like that?
Because I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
No, it adds interest to the portrait.
Right.
So it's not a boring old portrait.
Right.
Right. That's what you want to try and avoid. So with that line across, that just adds interest.
All the bunch of lines. Look at that. They look like scratches on her face.
I think that looks good. I think it's a fantastic image of a witch. It is a witch.
Yes, it's a witch.
Because I seen a hat. I thought, hold on. I know who wears that hat. It's a witch. So I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And it's very interesting as well. And there's a lot to look at. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Well, good. I'm glad I got that feedback.
So I would leave them in. You should not go over those.
Yeah, because if you go over, it's like it'd be laborious. It's laborious and tedious. It's like, let me create. It's not covering. It's not covering. And then it's like, and then when you finally do cover, it looks like a fake face. And then I can see it. Like it just doesn't look like it's like you're trying to make it look real, and then it doesn't really look real, and it's like just a mess.
Which actually, you've just mentioned something there, right, with what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
By the way, can I just go back to the chat a little bit? Because Radical Changes has added, it's about the dream catcher. It's supposed to take away negative energy, offering a type of protection for the families while they slept, keeping evil at bay. So the thing is, right, what you mentioned, Diana, about about that painting and making mistakes.
Yeah.
But about covering mistakes. And this is the thing, it happened to me quite a bit. You make a mistake, okay? But you want to cover it up. So you try and cover it up, and it makes a mess.
Yeah.
So you try and solve that. So you try mess, and that makes even more mess. So you've got more to cover up, and then you've destroyed the artwork. So I think you've got to think about mistakes carefully. Do you really want to cover them up? Because it can destroy the artwork if you do.
How about this? Mistakes are imperfections, and shouldn't we embrace imperfection?
Yes.
We should embrace imperfection all the time.
I think so, yes.
as an artist, you like, it's so weird because as an artist, people think, oh, artists are perfect. They create perfect art. They create perfect art. And it's like, no, like really as an artist, I mean, some artists, maybe that's what they do and they can do it well, but there's other kind of art where you really need to you need to really go the opposite way of perfection. You need to embrace imperfection.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you're just experimenting whatever, just going with the flow and experimenting, you make a lot of mistakes, and those imperfections can add a lot of interest to your artwork.
Oh, yeah. And interest in symbolism. And if you look at it, you're like, okay, so now let's look at her face. So, oh, like scratches on her face. And so you're like, oh, like what? She was like a witch that was in a fight, or she was a witch that like,
has her black cat scratched her?
Yeah, has a black cat scratched her.
She's trying to put it in the pot. Do you know the witch's pot?
Yes.
The cauldron.
The cauldron.
The cauldron. Yes, the witch's cauldron.
Or was she flying on her? See, you can make up all kinds of stories. Or was she flying on her broomstick and ran through a bunch of tree branches?
Yeah, she might have crashed into a bush and scratched her hair. Scratched her face straight into a bush. Boom. So
that's good, Lexi. Lexi says some of her favorite ideas are born from mistakes. Good, that's good.
There you go, Lexi. That's it. And I think a lot of artists in this chat and who are watching this, who aren't just in the chat but watching as well, or will eventually watch this, will agree about and have the experience of creating mistakes that actually help them out.
Oh, here's a good saying. Here's a good saying. I actually, for the past year, have been working with an artist mentor, and he said he quotes this an artist that he likes, and he often says this quote. He says, the only oh God, let me think how it says it. Like the only rule I have for my art is to make my hand surprise me.
Aha.
And also he says, don't think and then he's always saying, follow your intuition. He goes, the thinking mind messes things up. Follow your intuition. Yes. When you're creating, don't think too much. Don't think, just do. And later you can step back with a critical eye. But while you're creating, the thinking mind will get in the way of the creative process.
That's it. That's exactly. Do you know what? I agree with that 100%. And that's what I've done with a sketch. Exactly what that guy, who you quoted, has said.
The only rule I have is make my hand surprise me.
Yeah, that's it. And you just do it. May be a disaster. It might turn out to be an absolute disaster.
Right.
But that's okay. That's okay, because you can start again. But eventually you'll come out with something that you like, or that you can use.
Or you work with it. Like, so like your hand surprises you and you create, and your intuition surprises and you create things that you wouldn't have intended. And then you have to like stop and think like, I hadn't thought of that. And I could go in this direction now.
Exactly. That's it. And you think, oh, this is fantastic. And it adds to the enjoyment of creating. Yeah.
Yours is so deep. Look at yours, and just like around an hour, so detailed looking.
Thank you so much. But you know what? Can I just let you into a secret?
Yeah.
About the detail. I don't know if anybody else thinks it's very detailed. Okay. But what I do is I try and suggest detail. So what you're seeing here is a suggestion of detail.
Oh.
Okay. Now it's a little.
It tricks the
eye. It's a bit of a trick. Yeah, that's what I've done, and it looks really detailed. And a lot of people have said, some of your drawings are really detailed.
Right.
But what I'm doing is I'm tricking. And that's what we're supposed to do as artists. Yeah. Is to fool people into thinking, well, that is what you've just drawn there is a witch. Well, it's a representation of a witch. It's not really a witch, but you're fooling that person into thinking they're saying this or that. So I'm just suggesting detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a lot of random squiggly lines and it looks very detailed.
I know when you put them all together. So when all the squiggly lines get put together.
Yes. It looks very detailed. There's a lot going on.
Oh, but you're saying it's not technically realistic detail because you did it's just squiggly lines and you didn't really like.
If you get your magnifying glass and put it over this, you'll probably say, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Yeah, so that is, don't get us wrong, there is detail in there. I have put detail in, but most of it is suggested detail. Yeah.
I know, it's just crazy because it does not look suggested.
It's a crazy thing. I am putting detail in, but most of it is suggested. It's one of my tricks, what I do anyway, is to make something look like a tube or like these horns. What I do is I do rings like that around them, and it gives a suggestion of form. But that's all it is, a very quick suggestion which adds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I finished this sketch.
Right, and we're coming up on the time where you said you could the last time that you could say we're coming up on 9:30 your time.
Do you think I should finish by telling a third story?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, okay. We're having the third spooky story.
Third spooky story. Lexi, thank you so much. Lexi said, very sneaky, Davy.
Yeah, I
about
know.
that suggestion. And Radical says, it's funny, I feel like black cats are lucky until they cross your path. They are such beautiful creatures.
Yeah.
There's one black cat you shouldn't let cross your path, and that's a panther. So that would be a very unlucky black cat. So the third story, will I finish off with the third story?
Okay.
Okay, so there's the final sketch anyway. I'll put that up there. Yep, so everybody can see that. So here we go. This is a quick ghostly story to end things off before I go. And it's a story about a phantom monk. Okay. So in the town where I live, there is a place, a church called Trinity Church. It's a very old church. Most of it's been rebuilt, but part of it still exists. Now, many, many years ago, when the area was being built up, yes, buildings were being built, houses, shops, and what have you. They were building, does everybody know what a club is? Or a pub?
A pub, P-U-B? Pub,
P-U-B, a pub.
Yeah, that's like a tavern.
Right, a tavern. Well, a club, up where I live, we call them clubs. And these are extremely large taverns. They're massive.
Okay,
so you get hundreds of people in these places.
Right.
I like a nightclub.
We call them clubs too. We call them like nightclubs or dance clubs.
Nightclubs. Yes, it's like a nightclub. So I call it a nightclub. But these clubs are for mature people. So this nightclub was built. Okay. And while they were building it, they uncovered some graves. And these graves dated back centuries to the original graveyard built by the monks of the church.
Wow.
Okay. This is centuries old. Now, when the nightclub was built, and all the houses in this town, people started going into the club, and everything was fantastic. Now, when I was a young lad, I overheard these stories being told by my family members. Now, my mother, was a barmaid, so she used to work behind the bar, pouring everybody their drinks, to the customers. So was my auntie, and my grandma, was a cleaner, and she cleaned the nightclub with her friends. Very strange things started to occur in this nightclub. When my grandma and her friends used to clean and put everything in place, they used to move on, then they would hear noises coming from the room where they'd already been. And when they went back to see where the noises were, they noticed things had been moved. Chairs, mats, glasses, things like that. Things are being moved. What's going on? What is moving these things? So they got a bit creeped out. They got a bit creepy. So one day, the manager of the club, the nightclub, was locking up. He switched all the lights off, locked the door, and as he was leaving late at night, he turned and noticed something strange. All of the lights in the nightclub had been switched back on.
Oh.
So he entered the building to switch the lights off. He had to walk up the big staircase into the big bar room, and there, standing behind the bar, beside the bar, was a cloaked figure. But this figure had no face. It was hooded. It had a hood.
Hooded.
No face, but you could see its feet. And it had sandals.
Like a monk.
It was the phantom monk. It didn't do anything, it just stood there. But this guy, the manager, was so scared by its presence, he ran and jumped down a full flight of stairs to get out of that place quick.
Did he get injured or die?
He got a little bit injured, but he was okay. But he was quite shaken by the sight of this monk. So people working in the place also started to see things. The monk was seen again. It was very rare, but a number of people did see it. And on one occasion, my grandmother's friend saw the monk in a corridor, standing, facing her. No face. She could see its feet. It was sandaled, but it had no face. And she really took a bad panic attack, and she left. She wouldn't go back to her job, and she had to leave her job. She was so scared. So this thing persisted, okay? But now the place has been shut down, and it is no longer a nightclub. It's something else.
Yeah, what is it now?
I don't know what it is. It might be a furniture department, a furniture shop, but I haven't heard any more stories, or I don't know if anybody's actually sighted the Phantom Monk anymore. But during the times of the 70s, when my family worked there in the nightclub, it had been seen several times, and lots of strange things had happened. Yeah. So that was the Phantom Monk. Yep.
Oh, and that's also based on true story. Like all your stories are based on true story.
These are all stories that's been told to me. I've got lots more, lots and lots. I might have to continue this sometime. But loads and loads of stories.
Halloween in August.
Yes, there's that one. Halloween in August. Get an August Halloween going, Diana, and I'll tell another 3 stories. But these have been stories told to me by family members or friends. Yeah, people who I trust, who don't lie. They're not liars. They don't make things up. And they generally do see, I think they've genuinely seen something. But the big question is, what are people seeing? What are these strange things that people see and witness and experience? You tell me. And like Lexi said there, I never realised how creepy ghost feet are. The topic has never come up before, I guess.
I think I think it's possible that they might be souls, because I believe we are all soul, and they're souls that are in between bodies before they go reincarnated into their next body, or they could be lost souls that are taking a long time, taking a while from their last body and taking a while to be reincarnated into their next body, and souls, and also souls living on other dimensions.
Now that could be. You might be onto something there, Diana. Very strange indeed. But I certainly wouldn't like to see ghost feet.
No, I don't. I believe when people say they see them, but I don't want to see them.
No, me neither. So if there are any ghosts about, please don't reveal yourself, because I don't want to see you. Yeah. And go in peace.
Oh, I know the closest thing that I've not seen. Oh gosh, now I just thought of something. I'm seeing something and hearing something. So I live in a 150 something year old house.
Well, that's all.
And I was downstairs. It was like late at night, and I was downstairs alone, and I heard the creaking step, and I'm like, why is that step creaking? It shouldn't be creaking. And it kept creaking, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I was like so scared. I'm like, oh my, is that like a ghost or something? Because it kept creaking, and it never usually does that.
That's strange.
And then
you never know.
And then here's another one. It was kind of a good one, that the day of, or it could have been the day after, it was either the day of or the day after, that my mother passed away at age 96. She out in our driveway, which we have a driveway that's not like, you can't just get to it easily. It's like you're coming up our driveway for a purpose. It's not just like stopping by, and we have like some really open driveway. It's kind of like secluded, and out the window, my husband saw a man, and I think it was a black man, waving, smiling and waving. And I'm like, what? And I felt that it was like, that was a good, that was like a spirit telling us that my mother was doing okay after she had passed away.
Yeah, it could be a messenger, yes.
And that's never happened since. That's never happened since, where some man is just standing there waving and smiling at us.
Yeah,
I don't take that as like, for me that meant something. For me that meant something.
It could have meant something. It could be a message they might be trying to
say that my mom, that everything was okay.
Trying to get your attention, maybe. That reminds me of another story that me and my wife, something that me and my wife saw, but we couldn't actually say if it was a ghost or not. So I might save that for next time, because it could have been a non-ghost, or it could have been a ghost, so I don't know. But I'll tell you that next time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's
been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure, Diana, being live with you.
Today, it was not a trick. It was a treat. It was a treat for you to be with us. But you showed us.
It's certainly a treat for me to be on here.
You showed us the tricks of your art. You said the tricks of how you you'd make the trick of creating a detail of the details. It's a
Yes,
trick.
this was the trick.
And then the treat was that you were with our guest today.
Yes. It's a bit of a trick, yes. Oh, your audio went off.
Oh,
The audio's going. Everybody's audio is going a bit shaky.
what?
Oh,
Can you still hear me?
yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's funny there.
okay, so
You know what that is.
thank you so much for being with us today, Davy, and thank you
It was my
everybody
pleasure.
that visited us in the chat, and hopefully we might be doing Halloween in August.
That sounds great. I am always here if you want a Halloween live stream person to pop on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really do like.
Can you join us in October?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice.
I would love to. I'll do another sketch.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Davy.
Thank you, everybody.
It looks
who's
like
watched.
people were
I'm
watching. I
coming.
feel like people talking in the chat are Lexi and Radical. So. Okay. Bye, Davy.
Bye-bye, Diana.
Okay.
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a nice night. Don't get too scared.
Bye.